frankly, I don't feel like he should be making these suggestions. I mean, Helmut, Marko, if you want to make suggestions, why don't you make legitimate suggestions? Or maybe even, why don't you appeal or appease or speak out to Formula One about allowing Andretti into the sport first? Why don't you do that? Instead of talking all this crap about you should buy this team, which we're going to look at that. And then we're going to also talk about some of the statements made as far as to Alpine being that Ferrari for, the French. We'll get into that. But first, I wanted to get into something really dope, okay? Months back, there was an unfortunate situation in Emilia, with the flood. A lot of citizens were left homeless or had to evacuate their homes, hoping they got those things at least somewhat on the road to being taken care of. We here at Wolfpack collected donations through the super chat on my platform. It was a very rough situation to get that money over there at first. And then I had a connect at McLaren who then reached out and gave me a representative at Alfa Romeo. And we worked it out to get those funds into the hands of those citizens via Alfa Romeo. And I even had something extra come through for you all. So listen, I got a dope first one off the auction poster right here, signed by Valtteri and Zhou. All right. The Emilia Romagna posters that were auctioned off. And this is the first one that went up for auction. So yes, it costs a pretty penny for a poster. It is autographed here by Zhou and Valtteri. And because my community is so dope, we came up with a way to give back to you all. So somebody here in the community will be the owner of this right here. I'm not keeping it for myself. They said, I got it. I'm not keeping it for myself. I'm going to give back to you all. So somebody here will have this hanging from their wall, a lucky person, which we're all very fortunate. Everybody chipped in, but we only able to get one at the price that it came for, just over $1,000. And this is the first one that went off the auction. So definitely, I'm very excited and happy to bless you all with that. We're probably going to do it during the next GP back, or maybe even the one after that, but please stay tuned for that. So let me get this over here. It will be shipped to you. It's been framed already. It's wrapped up. I'll package it up really good, and we will go ahead and raffle that off. So stay tuned for that. But now let's get back to old Helmut Marko. All right, let's get back to Helmut Marko. First off, I want to say this. Helmut, why don't you do us a favor? All right, why don't you do us a favor? Why don't you go ahead and sell AlphaTauri? How about that? Why don't you sell? Because honestly, you'd be doing us all a favor. There's no reason for Red Bull to have two teams, 4 cars, and 4 drivers on the grid. I think that's more than fair. I think that you should sell AlphaTauri to Andretti. I think that's more than fair. I mean, and plus, Italy already has Ferrari. And I'm not saying Ferrari's doing an obscene good job this season. AlphaTauri isn't either. All right. Why don't y'all go ahead and sell them? That way we don't have to worry about any loopholes. It can feel like more integrity has been installed or raised among the grid, that there's not a team utilizing this and that. I think it's only fair because there's been plenty of times where plenty of people have thought about the fact of you using AlphaTauri, your junior team, to your varsity team Red Bull, to help you take advantage of situations on the grid, like sending damn Yuki out when you know damn well the car shouldn't go out, and then telling him to stop on track, which then brought a safety car. I'm just saying, I think that you should sell AlphaTauri. I don't think you should be suggesting to Alpine for them to sell their team. And while we're at it, let's look at this. Let's just take a look. Let's take a look at some of these statements, right? Okay. So he says Andretti should buy the Alpine team. Currently unfolding at Renault-owned outfit, there's a bunch of chaos. We already know the situation happened with Otmar. He can get in the pink slip. Rossi got the pink slip. There are several other things taking place there. Helmut goes on to say that would be best for everyone. Formula One would keep 10 teams, Andretti could get in, and Renault can still be involved. Well, hold up, man. Hold up. Who the hell said that Andretti wanted a Renault power unit? It wasn't too long ago we was always watching Formula One races, and what did we see? I called them the Renault smoke bombs because it was more often than not that you were going to see smoke exiting the exhaust from a Renault power unit out the back of a yellow and black machine going down the track. Who said Andretti wants Renault? And who are you to then decide that, yo, Andretti, when you get in, you got to keep that? Andretti doesn't want that. And if he did, it's already been said that he's talked to several teams. And I'm really trying to figure this out. I'm having some trouble because you all say you want competition, you want challenge. You're all open for teams coming in. And then you consistently move the goalpost when Andretti was reaching said ask of him. All right. You said it first, Andretti, you need to have some more money. You need to have more backing. We need to be more confident that once you come into Formula One, it's not going to be a here and gone. We need to know that financially that you can withstand the weather of losing and maybe not being so profitable and remain in Formula One for the integrity of all the sport. So what does Andretti do? He goes and gets backed by General Motors, the biggest car manufacturer in the United States of America. Let's not forget what's in the Venom. If you don't know what the Hennessy Venom is, go check it out. Let's not forget what motor's in there. Let's not forget what motor or engine lies in most cars that are flying down the drag tracks. Let's not forget about that. And then what do? What do they say? Oh, well, you know what? We're not too sure about and General Motors. And meanwhile, Ford comes in as a power unit supplier, supposed to be for Red Bull, but that's a whole nother story. Circle Ford, that's where the problem is. But then, you come up with the fact that you don't like their power unit arrangement. Okay, all right. And then it's like, okay, Andretti, you got the money for the dilution fee for all the teams, the fee to pay the money to come into the good old boys club. $200 million he's got. All right. He's got that. Now all of a sudden that's not enough. Maybe that should be more. It should be higher. Here we go. Moving the goalpost again. Moving the goalpost. Every time Andretti gets within 5 yards, scores a touchdown of a deal, gets ready to kick the field goal, you move the goalpost. What is that about? What is that about? All right, so let's go into the next thing. Let's go into the next thing because Helmut's talking, right? Let's go into this. Then we go in to say, Michael Andretti, however, said recently that he has actually approached all of the existing teams. That's all teams on the grid. He has approached them already. And none of them want to sell. Nobody wants to sell. What's up, Judical McBoodical? What's happening? Even amid the unfolding management crisis at Alpine Renault Group, CEO Luca De Meo appears determined to stay the course in F1. Alpine will become the French Ferrari of F1. Oh my gosh. Alpine will become the French Ferrari. Well, let me tell you something. Luca, let me tell you, I don't think that that's a very good goal to shoot for. Have you seen Ferrari this season? I mean, I know where they are, right? And it's not like they not number one, but they not last. I understand that. But have you seen Ferrari the last 2 seasons look horrible? Strategy, horrible. Driver decisions, not great. Team, organization, key personnel, horrible. Power units, failing. And you want to talk about being the French Ferrari? Let's talk about a team that was nicknamed the White Ferrari. Let's talk about Haas, shall we? Because Gunther had his mouth open all about Andretti and how he didn't feel that they were going to be able to bring value. And if a team was going to come, they should bring value into Formula One. Haas hasn't brought shit to Formula One that I see that's valuable. They haven't been winning since 2015? I think maybe they was in top 10, 5 or something like that. Maybe. They haven't been winning. You got horrible driver pairings. And let's talk about them supposedly being the American Formula One team. Shit, hardly anybody knows about it. Outside Haas being stationed or based in North Carolina of the United States of America, you took Russian money. Russia was one of your biggest supplier and clients. You damn near got in trouble. We're still trying to figure out if you did not agree or abide by the sanctions during the whole Russia-Ukraine debacle. You flew Russian colors. You had a Russian and German driver pairing, not an American driver pairing. I'm trying to figure out how in the hell is Haas supposed to represent America, but I know Andretti can. Matter of fact, you share offices with Ferrari. You got a Ferrari power unit. You got Ferrari parts. Haas is not an American Formula One team. And that's the white Ferrari. So Alpine, pump your brakes when you talk about like being the French Ferrari. Just be yourself. But Helmut Marko, I got something to say to you. I got something to say to Helmut. While you're talking about all the disarray that Alpine have, you know, AlphaTauri not looking so great. Aren't y'all in the midst going into changing key personnel at AlphaTauri? Matter of fact, AlphaTauri isn't even ranked as high as Alpine in the Constructor Championships. They're 6th, you're 10th. Tell me why they need to sell. With all the problems they're having, they're still ranked higher in Constructor Championship with at least 50-plus points, while you only have 3 points by way of Yuki Tsunoda bringing them to you. Why does Alpine need to sell and not AlphaTauri? It seemed like to me, you should be more than willing to sell AlphaTauri, the junior Red Bull team to Andretti. I mean, those colors already pretty much look red, white, and blue. I know we know Haas had red, white, and blue, but that was for Russia. I know AlphaTauri right now is an Italy-based team, but hey, they already got Ferrari. Technically, we don't have an American Formula One team. Haas does not count. Why don't you sell Andretti AlphaTauri? Why didn't you suggest that? Why don't you suggest what you might have some or have more leniency or more control in? You don't have any control about Alpine. Alpine just had 3 stakeholders come in with a whopping 24% stake in Alpine by way of Michael B. Jordan, Reynolds, and I believe McAfee. Okay? Even with Alpine triple DNFing, wrecking up both cars, they still managed to have more points than you. You just bought in Danny Rick after shipping Nick DeVries out. Didn't even give bro a full season to get acclimated to Formula One. Even Toss thought he deserved better than that. You bought in Danny Rick. He ain't even did better than Yuki just yet. And he still got the rest of the season to prove us right or wrong, or just prove that he has the ability to come out. Meanwhile, y'all up here talking about Danny Rick going for Perez's seat. Man, y'all better stop. Y'all better stop. Helmut Marko, where about your damn team? Where about what you might have the ability to have a say-so as far as who is going to be selling or not? Alpine is not interested in selling. Alpine just went ahead and made some very vast and aggressive decisions on their leadership personnel. They were 4th, best of the rest last season, and they're looking to get back to that. You, my friend, are not doing the hottest in Formula One by way of AlphaTauri right now. Mary Beanie says, Haas forget they were the 11th team. Thank you. They were the 11th team on the grid underneath Mercedes Manor at that point in time when they were allowed into Formula One. And this is why I say Gunther needs to shut his mouth. Why would you talk about somebody that is now in a position that you once were in? Meanwhile, with the opportunity, you have not done the most of anything besides show us the carousel of sponsorships you can have. Show us the debacle of driver pairings you can have. Show us that you got to switch cars because Mazepin's daddy say so, problems you can have. Show us that Gunther has people fuck slamming his door you can have. Gunther has a book out right now. Gunther's more worried about traveling the countryside with Mattia Binotto than he is about running Haas as a Formula One team and trying to be successful. I'm just saying. I don't even know if MoneyGram ain't going to even be there. But right, Alfa Romeo coming in, MoneyGram, what y'all change major sponsors more than shit. I don't even know. More than Jeff can change his clothes on F1 Minute. How about that? And F1 Minute will be live tomorrow, given weather is all good. At 1900, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be live at F1 Minute, where that platform is about you more than it's about me. You get to have your say. Come on, talk your ish. Have a good time. We had to repostpone due to inclement weather the other day. Very hard to even get through the podcast. We had Nasha on, so working on getting that up as well. But yeah. Helmut just sitting here rambling and talking all kinds of bull crap. All kinds of bull crap. Bro, speak about your team and yourself. Andretti, I don't know why they so scared of you. It seems like to me they more scared of you than anything. It shouldn't be all of this in order to let this man in. I know they want him to purchase another chassis that is already existing on the grid. Well, listen, Haas came in as the 11th team. Mercedes Manor went out. Let Andretti come in and see if he can outperform Haas. And then if he can, ship Haas out. How about that? If you let Andretti in as the 11th team and they show that not only they can perform equal or at least progressively coming up to Haas, and then you also see the amount of support that they will get from the American U.S. audience base, as well as other places, because Andretti is deep in motorsports. Do not forget this. Then why don't you give him a shot? And if they do, ship Haas out. If they seem more profitable, ship Haas out. If Andretti can show that he can do more for Formula One, ship Haas out. If Andretti can show he can outperform them, then you still only have 10 teams on the grid. I think Haas ought to be up for a challenge. That's what I think. I think it's time to challenge Haas, because they haven't done much since they came in Formula One, and allow Andretti to go ahead and duel it out. Like in John Wick 4, we got the pistol duel. Let's go ahead and walk these paces in. Let's go ahead and get these races in. Let's go ahead and see who can get these positions in. Let's go ahead and see who can climb up the Constructor Championship standing then. How about that? And if Haas can't do it, ship him out. If Andretti comes in and he's showing that he's growing, that that team is progressing, that they're making the right decisions, that the audience base is really liking them, that the revenue is increasing, that the fan base is increasing, you got to give him a shot. You got to give him a shot. And by the way, Red Bull ain't doing a damn thing when it comes to America. I told you all this. I'm gonna save it for F1 Minute. I'm gonna save it for F1 Minute, because on F1 Minute the other day we was gonna go in. We're gonna talk about all the viewership stuff going on. We're gonna talk about the cost cap situation. We going in on F1 Minute tomorrow. Y'all better bring your A game, be hot and be ready to go off, because we got hot topics I wish we could have did on Monday. They flying around now. We still gonna do them, because nobody does them like we do them. All right. So be here for that. But anyway, yeah, I just, every time Helmut Marko open his mouth about something, he just shouldn't. He just damn shouldn't. 84% of you all said that you would let Andretti into F1, and I agree with you. I agree with you. I think it's a damn shame that they don't. I also think it's a damn shame that, I understand the whole pie situation and the whole situation about, money and we don't want to share. But, if a pie gets bigger and your percentage stays the same, but the pie gets bigger, then your slice of pie still gets bigger, inevitably. I'm just saying. Now, I know there's a whole situation with trying to make room in certain garage areas of certain circuits and all this other stuff. But if you got the damn room for a movie, you had the room to give a movie, 2 garages for fake Formula One racing. You can't find a way to give 2 garages to an actual Formula One entrance team? Stop playing with me, man. Maybe every circuit didn't have that ability, but I know Toto was talking about they'd have to work it out. And I know damn well it was 2 garages allocated by 2 fictional characters playing in a movie fake race in Formula One, but you can't find a way to facilitate the room for a real team coming into Formula One. That's funny. It's funny to me. News to me, I guess. Whatever, but yeah, definitely we will be live tomorrow. Also, we're going to have another Wolves Den tomorrow. Got another special guest coming in for you all. We are definitely probably going to be on the other platform. We're going to try the other platform out, but we do have another guest. I will announce that guest tomorrow morning so you all can be ready. It can be fresh in your brain. You can be ready to set your alarm or your timer that day for the Wolf members to go ahead and come in. You're going to be able to ask questions. We're going to take questions like we did last time. I'm kind of leaning toward the Zoom format because I like the fact that you all, you can uncheck your mics, say what you got to say, then you mute your mics. But listen, let's do this. I'm going to say this again, and I keep saying it. When we have these guests in the Wolves Den, please be more punctual and accurate and clean with your questions. Don't go on a whole big rant and then the guest can't even remember what the question was, or don't go on a whole big rant before you ask your question. And don't always ask general questions about where they gonna be or who they chilling with. Ask questions that we can get them to answer that other people might even want to know, including yourself, about the sport, about how they feel about the sport, about their forecast about the sport, about their driver or maybe favorite driver, or what got you into Formula One or motorsports, period. Try to ask more questions along that line that are more beneficial because that will be going on YouTube, all right? Keep that in mind, please. Okay, we want to make sure that our guests not only feel welcomed, but feel like they are adding value to the platform by answering questions that are like, you know what, that was a pretty good question, okay? Not frivolous, petty questions that really don't amount to anything besides personal interest, and they probably not interested in really even answering questions like that. So keep that in mind. But it is something that we do for Wolves Den. I'm really excited. I'm trying to get you all used to it, so when we put it on YouTube, it brings more value to the community that still don't have the opportunity that you do have to come in, because not everybody has a Wolfpack membership. When you got a Wolfpack membership, you get to take part in the conversations when I have guests on the show, and we will have another guest this week. I'm trying to bring you as many guests as I can throughout this break so you can be included into the conversation, all right? So big shout out to you all. We're about to get out of here. Hopefully tomorrow goes off without a hitch. Hopefully the weather cooperates, and even if it is inclement weather, it's not as bad as it was the other day, and we still gonna be running in live. I'm gonna try to come up with a redundant backup type system if I can. That way, if things seem a little funny, we can still kind of overcome that challenge. All right, so big shout out to you all. Wolfpack is gonna be out. Peace.